again, especially the people who have met me like at this point in my journey would never imagine that I lived the life that I did in my past, or even acted certain ways, or did certain things, or treated my body certain ways. It's like hard to even think when you look at like this version of me, because I'm like the feminine, cares about her body, knows her hormones woman. And I'm like, when I first moved to Pittsburgh, I was the furthest thing from that. Truly the furthest thing from that. I was just a heartbroken, lost, scared girl who didn't like herself and didn't know what she wanted out of life at all. And it's insane to think that I went from that to this in just like 7 years. Okay, so who is Kate? I am a 30-year-old entrepreneur living in Pittsburgh. I have had quite the hormone healing journey over the past 5 to 6 years, I would say. I originally moved to Pittsburgh to be a paralegal and to work in law and to do the corporate lifestyle, but quickly realized that that was not for me. And there was something so much deeper waiting to emerge. And I went through a spiritual awakening and then started having trouble with my hormones and realized the way that I was moving my body wasn't really the way that my body needed. So then it took me on a whole journey to learning the feminine and learning what it means to be a woman and what it means to be in the female body and all of the things that come with it. And even though it was such a long road to get here, I am now like so beyond grateful to be a woman and to be in this body and to now share all the wisdom that I've learned along the way. On a scale of 1 to 10, how authentically are you living right now, both online and offline? Offline, I'm completely fully authentic. I would say I really don't have an issue anymore, like walking into rooms and just being who I am, that is typically pretty different than the grain. Like, I don't do a lot of things that are considered social norms, like drinking or even listening to a lot of like mainstream music and watching mainstream TV shows. All of that stuff I kind of do a bit differently, because I am so intentional with the way that I live my life. And I think that when I was in those chapters where I was wrapped up in what everybody else was doing and what was cool to do, I wish I could have like seen an embodied woman who was like, you don't have to just do these things because they're cool. So I like to be the one in the room that is like, I actually don't watch that, or I actually don't do that, as like an example or an inspiration for somebody to be like, just plant the seed, like, like maybe I don't need to either if it doesn't really align with you. Online, I'm working on bringing that fully online because I can tend to still filter myself, and I do feel like I can get caught up in the performance aspect of it, showing the things that I want to show and the things that tend to get the most love. But I'm working on sharing a lot of the more like intimate, sacred moments with online, which can feel really scary. I also self feed content full time, and I've built a pretty big platform doing that. And with that has come a lot of realizing what it means to have a big platform and have so many people having access to you. And it's made me really think hard about what intimate moments I want to share online in my personal life, because if that scales to the caliber that my feet business has, that feels overwhelming at times. Like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine that many people looking at my morning flow, or like me being so in my body, because a lot of it isn't a performance at all. It's such an inward journey that like it probably doesn't look super pretty on the exterior. It's so deeply embodied, but I do feel like a lot of that is part of my mission and part of my purpose and what I'm supposed to share with the world. So I'm really working on bit by bit starting to share those pieces, which I have a little bit. And I just started making a non-negotiable for myself, because every morning I do a little bit of movement, whether that's like stretching, mobility, embodiment, dancing, and I'm forcing myself to just film it in whatever I'm wearing. Because a lot of times too, when I go to film, like I have to do my hair nice, I have to put on a cute outfit, I have to do all these things, but I'm practicing just setting up the camera in most likely my PJs and just doing the dang thing, just to get comfortable with even doing that aspect. and not thinking about how it's looking, not thinking about anything else about it. I honestly haven't even gone back and watched these yet, so maybe that can be my to-do when I leave here today, just to again take the next step forward. Maybe we watch them, maybe we crop some of them, maybe we act like we're gonna post them, see what it would feel like, you know, just like practicing doing the scary things. Because yeah, I do feel so called to do that, and I feel like the things we're most called to do can feel the most scary. So still a work in progress on that one. It can be so scary to do that online, but I feel like the more I do it, the easier it's gonna get. Okay, so talk to me about Sacred Shake. What is it? Why did you start it? And what do you hope women get out of shaking with you? Oh, the Sacred Shake is, oh, it's so crazy to sit now and think of where it is and like how it started. So it's kind of like a eye roll of a beginning to this journey. So it originally started when I first moved to Pittsburgh. I was leaving a really, really toxic situationship. It was like 2 years of, yeah, situation. Wasn't even like a real relationship, but he was definitely a narcissist and used a lot of the things that I loved against me. I feel like they can tend to like see that spark in you and want to dull it type of thing. And I've always loved dancing. I've always danced in my bedroom when I was a little girl, stayed up late, honestly. I was always stay up super late, dancing in my mirror. Just that's how I like love my body and love myself. I never did it like professionally or anything, but he always made me feel like embarrassed of my dancing, and like it was not attractive. It was not like I didn't have rhythm, like I didn't have curves, so I couldn't shake, like all these things. So when I moved to Pittsburgh, I did a lot of things out of resentment for him. Like that's what started my booty building journey, which has also been a pretty big part of my fitness journey and what I've shared online. And then the other half of that was teaching myself how to twerk. So I was pretty much like, I'm going to do this in spite of him and to prove to myself that like I can do this. Like, screw you for telling me like I'm not capable of doing something. I'm capable of doing anything I want. So I just started teaching myself how to twerk. And that started as just literally hours and hours in my bedroom, just shaking my hips every way that you could think. I don't even think I watched any videos on it really. I just was sitting on my floor, just like, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna try and try and try again. And it got to a point where I would be shaking for such long periods of time that it started bringing emotions out of me. First was like it would make me laugh or like giggle, and then it started getting deeper and I would start crying, or I would feel really, really angry or a lot of rage. I originally like attributed that to him, and I was like, I just need to like get all this out. Like he just makes me so mad. Like, why did he make me feel this way about myself? But then the deeper I got, I was like, you know what, let me like look into this. I feel like there has to be something deeper. And that is when I found that a lot of ancient cultures do this as a sacred practice to move stuck energy, to sometimes they do it for like weight loss, to move stagnant blood, to just like get everything flowing in your body. It's like such a healthy release. And once I learned that, I was kind of like the green light, like, oh, we've like tapped into something ancient here. Like, let's keep going. So I combined it with some of my other favorite forms of movement, like feminine, like flowy style movement, some somatic stretching and like embodiment work. And the next step of that was it turned into a shake and flow, which I would do at the end of my period, like into the follicular phase, because once I started cycle syncing my workouts, I am a huge hibernator on my period. So like a lot of times no movement, like in the bed all day, for like 3 days in a row. So by the time I'm like coming off my period, jumping straight into the gym, like hurt, like my joints were stiff, like everything was just not functioning the way I wanted it to. So it originally was like what would bridge the gap between complete stillness and hibernation and like really hitting it hard in the gym. So that's why a lot of it is like mobility focused and like spine activation. It's just like waking up your body and then shaking off all that shit that you moved through during your period. But then I realized my body was craving it for like so much more than that. And that's when I started adding like the embodiment work to it, and I started incorporating it really anytime that I would start to feel like heavy emotions coming up, like if I'm feeling really stressed, or a lot of times it feels amazing the week before your period, like when you're in the luteal phase and so many emotions, you're just angry at everything, everything's just so annoying. So sometimes you just need to get on your bed and shake it out, shake, and just let the aggression, let the rage flow through your body, which I've found is also so magical. I almost prefer it more than even the end of my period, but now it's become the sacred shake method, and I want that to be my like signature legacy that I leave behind me, because it really encompasses every piece of my journey, from the girl that was stuck in a life that she hated, a body that she resented, and really felt so lost. I can still remember sitting at my desk at my corporate job, just like something doesn't feel right. Like I feel so out of place. Like I love my coworkers. I'm literally living the life I thought I wanted, but I feel empty inside. This just doesn't feel like what is meant for me. I feel like I'm meant for more. And I kept saying, once I find out what that is, like I'm going all in. Like there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. And I think it was this past Christmas when I was home. I was going through my bedroom. My mom I love that she keeps so much of my old stuff and like my old high school like furniture. So the bedroom when I go home, just like it's like a trip down memory lane. And I was going through one of the boxes and I found a note that I honestly completely forgot about writing. I think it was dated, I was going to say 4/22, but there's no way it was the same day as today. I might go home and look because I brought it back to Pittsburgh with me. But it was of like 2018 or something. It was like right when I got to Pittsburgh and I was having those feelings of like, I'm just so lost. And it's really, I cried when I read it because it was just like basically saying a lot of what I'm saying. Like, I'm just so lost. Like, I just want to know what my purpose is. Like, I feel like I'm here for such big things. Like, I mark my words, like as soon as I figure this out, like my life is gonna change. And reading, wow, reading that now, being on the other side of it, it was such a great reminder, because sometimes you can get wrapped up like in the day to day and like almost lose track, because I've been on this journey for so long now. It's been like 5 or 6 years. Lose track of like why am here in the first place. What led me on this journey? And reading that was just like really took me back to that moment. I'm like, oh my God, I'm here. I'm doing it. I figured it out. And I'm so grateful. And I'm just like so proud of myself. And granted, I probably thought it would be here a lot faster. Like when I first got certified as a trainer, it was very shortly after I got certified that I was like, oh, I know I'm going to open an all-female gym. That's what I want to do. And I like told the world. Now I know so much more about, once you get those sparks, like you don't tell everybody, because that almost like stunts the journey itself. You need to like harbor the baby and let it grow and like all of that before you really announce it into the world. So I really like put the cart before the horse, because now I like love this slow journey, every piece that I've been putting together. Because if I would have had a building by now, I probably wouldn't have created the sacred shake method the way that I did. All of that was like made out of necessity because of where I was in my journey. And now I'm just like, I don't even care when I get the building. For so long I was like, oh, like it should be here already, like wanting to rush the process. But now I'm to a place where I just like, I never thought that I would be facilitating at a studio. And I'm having so much fun. Like it genuinely feels like the perfect next step. And it's stretching my capacity, like taking these steps forward each time stretch you just a little bit more. Like now I am spending time like curating these playlists, getting my work out in front of people, and still running my other business, and still trying to, go to the gym and hit my goals and be with my boyfriend, and also have a life outside of that. And it's such a beautiful, battle's not the word I'm looking for, but like beautiful, like accumulation of everything in my life, and just like figuring out how to master it to then go to the next level. It's just like So, so beautiful. I feel like I went on so many different tangents, but okay. Talk to me about your relationship to food and your body. You mentioned struggling with binging and restricting. What were you trying to control, and what did your path to healing look like? So, this part of my journey has been lifelong. Honestly, ever since I was, when was probably middle school, might have been the first time that I started struggling with this. So, unlike most women, was diagnosed with ADHD in like third grade. A lot of times they only diagnose boys, and most women aren't getting that diagnosis until much, much later in life. So I am grateful that I like got that so early on in life, but it's a double-edged sword because I was prescribed Ritalin and Adderall literally my entire life from third grade, so the age of 8 until I was 24, I think is when I was like, I'm done. And with that medicine, for anyone who's ever taken it, it really suppresses your appetite. So originally when I was a kid, obviously we would only take it Monday through Friday, and then weekends I didn't, because why do I need to focus on the weekends? I can finally just be a kid. And then once I got to high school and started getting my driver's license, we realized, oh, you need this to drive. So you need to take this 7 days a week. Never miss a day. But when I was younger, what that would turn into is I would not be eating my school lunches. I wouldn't really be hungry for dinner when I got home. It wouldn't be until the weekends, and I was stuffing my face, and I was like, why don't I have self-control? Like, thinking something was wrong, that like, how can somebody just like feel hungry, eat the food, put it down when they were full, and move on? Like, I did not know how to do that on my own. So then that's kind of when, like, I guess the binging kind of started. Not as much when I was really little do I like remember a ton of it. I just remember like not eating school lunches, or like coming home and my parents being like, why aren't you eating dinner? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not hungry. I don't feel it. I don't feel any, I don't want to eat this food. It's making me nauseous to take bites of it. And then once I got to high school, it turned into like, once your body starts hitting puberty and all of these things, I realized, oh no, I need this so I can stay skinny. Like, if I don't take my medicine, like, I can't control myself around food. I would get super bloated, super constipated, and I was like dependent on it, not even to focus, more so to keep me skinny and keep me not eating and keep me not thinking about food. Because I also struggled with a lot of food noise. I do come from, one side of my family is really, really overweight and always has been. And they don't like eating the way I do now. Like, I have to bring all my own meals home when I visit my family, because they eat different than I do. You know, they eat all the super highly processed stuff that I genuinely do think I was addicted to. Like, because I do have that self-control now, and did not until I changed my diet. I remember maybe my mom heard me saying it to one of my friends or something, because my mom at one point even said, like, this is not diet medicine, this is like focus medicine. And I was like, it's not like, you know, you always just, I'm fine, like, that's not what it's about. But I even started to notice, like, after the medicine would taper off, that I just like literally could not stop. I wouldn't even feel hungry when I'm like, I need this food in my mouth. And it became, I don't even want to say an addiction, but like, truthfully, anybody who was a roommate with me in college can attest to this. Like, it was a problem that I could not control, especially once I got to college. So I always was different in high school, in the sense that, again, I didn't have a problem not drinking, not smoking, not doing what a lot of the other kids were doing, because it just didn't align with me, even at that time. And it wasn't until sophomore year of college. The first time I got drunk was actually genuinely an accident. That sounds so silly, but I was at a party with my college roommate, and I remember, I think one of her friends just like gave me, I don't know if it was a spritzer or something. Well, they didn't even have spritzers back then. Maybe like a margarita or something, something like some sort of like mixed drink in a can. And she was like, just drinking one of these isn't going to get you drunk. Like, don't worry. Cause I was like, I don't drink. Like, it's fine. They're like, just try it. Like, it's good. Like, and I was like, okay. And I was just like sipping on it. And maybe somebody gave me like a second one. And by the end of that, I was like, oh, like, I don't know what this is, but I'm feeling like bubbly, I'm feeling light, I'm feeling social. And I was like, I think I'm tipsy or drunk. Like, and I had such a good time. So I woke up the next morning and was like, why haven't I been doing that for so long? Like, that was actually so much fun. Like, that was so silly of me. And then that kind of started my drinking journey. That was probably the beginning of sophomore year of college. And that started the like late night binging like to a whole new level. Like I already really couldn't control myself around these foods. Drunk was like next level of coming home and just, and this is when I also was starting to buy my own groceries, started to use money to buy my own groceries. So I was buying all of the worst things you could think of. Our house was always just stocked with literally like I want to say like the Debbie cream pies and the super sugary cereals and the Kraft mac and cheese, and we would just come home and just go crazy. And that's when I didn't really gain the freshman 15, but like sophomore year is when I really started, like that's when I started seeing the weight start put on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really am not. And that's when I started really doubling down, like I need to make sure I'm taking my medicine. So if I'm going to eat this much at night, I can't be eating during the day. And in my mind, that's like how I was finding balance in it all. And then at the end of sophomore year is when I started smoking weed, and that's really when things I would say got out of control. Because I would rationalize it in my head, like, because the Adderall would take away my personality. Like it really, which is crazy to think I went pretty much my entire life on the medicine, because it just like made me a shell of a human. I could stare at a wall all day, not talk, not eat, not do anything. And that was like what felt good when I was on the medicine, which granted I probably needed to get through the school system, but I hated it. So weed then became my outlet. Like if I smoke some weed, it kind of brings back who I really am. It kind of brings me back into like my personality and all of these things, but it also brought with it intense munchies, like intense, which again, probably because I was starving myself, it then made my desire for food and like the food noise uncontrollable, like nonstop all day, every day. And that is when I started purging. So the binging got so bad to the point where like this probably wasn't until like junior or senior year that it really, where I was like, you know what, let me try throwing up. Like maybe that will make me feel better. Like again, just trying anything but actually finding a real solution. Um, and I'd say senior year is probably where it peaked, and I was puking after every meal because I couldn't just like stop when I felt full. Again, I don't know if I was just addicted to the food, or I hadn't figured out that self-control aspect in me, because again, my whole life my brain was like shut off in certain areas, and I was like starting to try and like loosen that grip, and I just didn't know how to regulate myself. Granted, again, I rationalized it because I was like, I'm not throwing all of it up. Like, I just would eat until I was so uncomfortable that I like couldn't breathe. And then I would go to the bathroom and puke probably like half of it because I hated throwing up. It was torture. But I was like, I'm gonna do it because I hate the feeling of my stomach being like it's gonna burst. Like actually it's gonna burst. I'm in so much pain right now. So I was like, I just need to give myself relief. And then I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like, see, and I still have food in my belly. So I'm like, I don't have a problem. Like I'm not puking all of it. And I rationalized every single step of the way. And it wasn't until like literally even out to eat with my friends at restaurants. I could still remember we made a trip to Pittsburgh one time because one of my roommates was from Pittsburgh, and I scarfed down my food so fast. And again, that was like almost a personality trait at that point. Like I was that girl that just like was a bottomless pit, and I was like proud of that. I was like, yeah, I can eat this and this and this. I'm probably gonna go straight to the bathroom afterwards and like deal with it, but then yeah, I went to the bathroom, and the whole rest of the night, a lot of times it would get stuck like up in the back of my nose. So the whole rest of the night, which that part I'm surprised nobody really picked up on, but like who would really even know that unless you've done that food then gets stuck back here and you're just the whole rest of the night. It wasn't until actually when we were back at our like college apartment that my one roommate just overheard me in the bathroom, and she was sitting outside waiting for me when I came out, and she was like, I don't even remember exactly what she said, but basically like we need to talk. Like I feel like, are you okay? Like genuine concern. And I am forever thankful for her for this, because even though I don't think I stopped like then and there, and I wasn't even, I convinced her I didn't have a problem. I was like, my tummy hurt. I needed to get some of it out. Like, I didn't puke all of it. Like, I'm fine. Like, trust me. Like, I'm in control of my body. Like, I'm fine. You just always try to convince everybody around you that you're fine. But it kind of got those gears turning. Like, maybe something is wrong. Like, maybe this isn't normal. Like, maybe we have a problem. But I don't know if that, I feel like the last time came around then. I'm not like 100% sure about that, because a lot of that era I was just super drunk and super high and it was just a blur. But by the time I moved to Pittsburgh, so I graduated college 2017, worked for about a year in Erie before moving to Pittsburgh. So I moved to Pittsburgh like September 2018. And when I moved, I kind of wanted like a clean slate for myself. I was leaving. I mean, it was a great job, but my boss was like kind of a dick, and I was being a bit underpaid for the amount of stuff that I was doing, and I was promised a raise that I didn't get, and I was like, okay. And then the guy was still treating me like shit. I actually decided to move here by the flip of a coin. I did it 3 different times in 3 different locations, and switched, like Pittsburgh being heads versus Pittsburgh being tails, and every single time it landed on Pittsburgh. And I was like, this was also the beginning of my like trusting in God and trusting in source, and like, if this is for me, like give me a sign. And I would flip the coin and I was like, okay, landed on Pittsburgh, that's number one. And then like by the third one I was like, okay, I hear you loud and clear, like it's certain I need to move. And I was like, and I want a completely clean slate. Granted, I did that in some ways, but not always. So when I came, I decided like I'm gonna teach myself how to cook from this point forward. I could only use the microwave and make cereal and like Kraft mac and cheese. That was like it. So I was like, we're gonna learn how to cook. I want to eat better. I want to start like taking care of my body. I want to start like doing all these things. But that's kind of when I also started working corporate, and it was not paying the bills, so I had to get a second job, which was just working at TJ Maxx, like at nights and on the weekends. So I was literally always working. So then I didn't really have as much time to cook, didn't really have that much time to go to the gym, and I was just like, oh, this is miserable. I'm actually not able to do what I really wanted to do with this. And I remember, just because of being so busy when I first moved here, like I didn't really go to, it seems weird, but I guess I wasn't really, or I was out of the house. I don't really know why, but I didn't get fast food for, it was probably like a month or two. And I'm somebody who loved and thrived on fast food, like Taco Bell 3 to 4 nights of the week. I loved my McDonald's McGriddle, like ate fast food constantly up into this point when I moved to Pittsburgh. And then the first couple months I was here, I was just so busy and like moving in and stuff that I didn't get any. I think it's because I was so like, I'm teaching myself to cook, I'm not getting it. But one night after going out with some of my new friends when I got here, they all were like, let's get McDonald's breakfast. I was like, oh my God, I haven't had that in so long. Like, let's do it. And I got my McGriddle the way I always do. And it made me so sick. Like, so sick. I had a stomach ache for days afterwards. And I remember just being like, all right, that's it. Fast food is out. I no longer eat fast food, and that's just who I am. And best decision I ever made. Honestly, now I'm like 7 years clean. That's so weird to say, but like that was a huge addiction for me. Like that was one of the things that I would get like a full Taco Bell box, eat the whole thing myself. Like no care in the world. It could just go down so easy. To me, it was so addicting. It was so easily accessible. It was one of the really big problems I had when it came to food. So that's why I was just like, you know what, if I can give up fast food, like I can do anything. And I just went about it like piece by piece by piece. Like first it was like no fast food. So if we want something quick, we got to figure out other quick options. Then came like the processed snacks. I was like, what else can I not control myself around? I was like, oh, like all of the Doritos, the Oreos, where I could sit here and literally eat a whole bag and not even think about it. I'm like, all right, that's next. The two hardest things for me I did first, because I was like, I feel like we have to get those out of the way. So then I just stopped buying, like out of sight, out of mind. I just stopped buying them. I was like, all right, we're gonna get like, it's funny because I don't even know what I replaced them with at the time, because that was before I really, really understood how to read a label the way I do now. I feel like I was just more so going for the stuff that was marketed as healthy, because I then later found out that those weren't healthy, and that threw me in a whole spiral of, oh shit, now we have to replace what I thought was the better options and replace those now. But yeah, so then just piece by piece, I would just like, one more thing, we're not doing that anymore. One more thing, we're not doing that anymore. And now I like don't even think about these things. I could be hungry and you had Oreos in front of me, I'm like, I don't really want to put that in my body. I think because I now view it more as like, I genuinely know what it feels like to eat food and like feel like shit, like complete shit, and hate the way my body looks, hate the way my body feels. And I also now know what it feels like to eat food that genuinely nourishes my body, makes me feel incredible, gives me energy. I'm light. I love the way my body looks. I love the way my body feels. And to me, it's just like a no brainer. I almost, in my mind, think of it, maybe I was telling a family member this at one point, because they're like, you really won't even eat it? I'm like, truthfully, in my mind, I view that as like trash. Like, would I want to eat trash, or would I just want to wait for like a real meal? And I absolutely would rather just wait for the real meal, because like I love my body now, like cherish it. Like it is sacred ground to me. And I want to treat it as such. Like when you have something that you cherish and you genuinely think is sacred, you're not going to feed it something that's poison, or feed it something that is going to damage it in any way. And truthfully, that mindset alone completely healed my eating disorders, because I just never thought of it like that. It was all just like, well, it tastes good and I want it. No other thought about it. I was addicted to how good food tasted. I had so much food noise. I was constantly thinking like, oh, when am I going to get the next meal? Oh, I'm craving a donut. Oh, I'm craving this. Oh, I'm craving that. And I was just chasing those cravings constantly. It was like, it was an addiction, because it was round and round in my head all the time. And it's crazy to think about, because I don't think about it at all anymore. Now it's like, oh, I feel hungry. What do I want to eat right now? And the hunger cue is what then cues what I'm going to eat. And then I eat it and I stop when I'm full and I put it away, which again, 10 years ago, me would be like, no fucking way we can do that. I genuinely don't believe you that we're able to do that on our own, without taking medicine, without doing all of these things. Like, what a blessing. Because when I was deep in it, that's all I wanted to be able to do. Like, why can't I just control myself like everyone else? Why can't I just stop when I feel full? Like, what is wrong with me? But again, for me personally, everybody has eating disorders for different reasons. Me, I think I was just addicted in a lot of ways to the highly processed food that has chemicals in it that make us want more than we actually need. Because once I started switching, like learning about ingredients and switching to more whole foods and clean products, I don't have that food noise anymore. I don't have that need to like, I just got to keep going. I just have to keep shoveling it. Like, I'm like, no, I'm full. Like, let me just put this away and I'll eat it later. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. And I'm like, remember when that was like impossible? That's actually so, and it seems so simple, I'm sure, to some people who have maybe never struggled with that, but it has really shaped the way I treat my body in all ways. Because first started with the food, and then I was like, wow, if I can feel this different just by changing what I eat, what else can we, because we input so much more than food. It's what we watch, it's what we listen to, it's what we read, it's what we consume on all aspects. And then I started getting curious. This was around the time of my spiritual awakening, where I started getting curious about, frequencies in music. And I'm like, like maybe we shouldn't listen to this stuff that's just putting negative things in my mind all day. Maybe we should try like uplifting music and like healing frequencies when we go to sleep. And like, obviously at the beginning of your journey, it's like I then only would listen to that, and only clean food, only clean music, I don't watch TV, like all these things. Now I'm at the point in my journey where I'm like, we are here to live a human experience at the end of the day, and our human bodies are adaptable. We do have a certain level of toxins that we can like withstand. Like if I go eat a donut from Sugar Birds downtown, I'm not going to feel horrible. Like it may affect me a little bit, but like I can control myself and have one donut instead of 12. And that again alone I feel like makes the biggest difference. And it's just a little treat, and I'm just enjoying being a human. And even same with the music. I still have a lot of stuff in my library that I listened to like back in my party days that I haven't necessarily got rid of. And sometimes when I listen to it, it's like nostalgic, and I'm like, the nostalgia of it makes it enjoyable, and I don't like get obsessive in my head like this, I can't listen to this, like it's gonna harm me. It's more just like I'm just being a human, and it's okay to enjoy that. It's just 10% of my day instead of 100. And that to me has made such a huge difference, because I grew up religious where purity culture and like being perfect and precise in so many ways was like something I wanted to get so far away from when I became an adult. But then I found myself doing the exact same thing in the spiritual community, where I was like, I have to be perfect. I can only say positive things. I can only listen to positive things. And then I was like, I'm doing the same thing. What if there's a balance where like, it's okay if you are a freaking human and you're just enjoying different parts of life? Because feeling positive all the time and feeling good all the time is not human. It's not normal. And I think that there's so much beauty in the lows, in the dips, in the sadness, in even those chapters of my life. And I love looking back on them, thinking about how strong they made me. Like if my life was always so positive and peachy and cream, I would have learned nothing. I would just be floating around, having no experience, having no wisdom to share. And like that's what I think the most beautiful part of living really is. And all of that stemmed from healing my relationship with food. And it's never gonna be like perfect either. For a long time after that, I was like, oh, I'm healed. Like, I'm never gonna binge again. I'm never gonna do this again. But it was probably 2 years ago at this point. So I was like 3 years into it. I was having this like picnic with this lady that I met, and she made this like fresh pizza. The dough was like insane, but it was like the kind of dough that like definitely expanded more after it hit like the water in your stomach and stuff like that. And we were just like doing so many things all day, so I was really hungry. And just again, I hadn't done this in so long, where I was just so hungry. I eat a lot slower nowadays too, because again, I feel like just shoveling is where a lot of the problem started. And it was so delicious that I felt myself losing control again. I just was like eating. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling that feeling in my stomach. And like all of those old feelings started rushing back in. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to purge right now. And I was like, I can't even, I've made so much progress. Like I really don't want to do that. And I like told her to, I was like, I have to go to the bathroom really quick. And I found myself just over the toilet. And I was just like breathing into the emotion. Like I started crying, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here again. Like I never wanted to do this again. Like feeling a lot of that shame. Like you're better than this. You need to have self-control. Like how did you let this happen? And then I was just like, okay, but maybe I'm just meeting these emotions in the new me. Maybe I'm just like meeting myself where I used to be and choosing something different. And that's where I got up and like was looking at myself in the mirror, and I kind of just gave myself a pep talk, like it's okay, like there's nothing wrong with you that this happened again. And it's not to say that like it's gonna happen again. Like you're just because I honestly feel like it was for like Lionsgate. It was for something so powerful too. And I was like, oh, this was such a beautiful day. Like I can't believe I like ruined it essentially. And I was like, you didn't ruin it. Like I'm just giving, again, God was just talking through me. Like, I'm just giving you a chance to revisit this and like choose something different for yourself. And then I just like went back out. I like, well, wiped my tears. I tried to make it seem like I wasn't doing like crying or like anything. I felt like energetically, I was like, oh, I probably like just so in my head about things. But then I we finished the day and I had quite a drive home. I was like an hour from where I lived. So I spent the whole ride home just kind of like observing myself throughout that experience. Cause I did at one point, like I put the fingers in my throat and everything. And then I was just like, stop. Like, what are we doing? Like, we don't need to be here again. And I just kept replaying it on the way home. And I was like, you know what? Like, again, part of the human experience. This is when I started reincorporating things because I was like, you know what? Like, it's fine. Like, I don't have to be perfect just because, like, certain things are behind me. Like, that it's fine. Because I also got in the headspace where I started, I'm not even going to say shaming people because I never, like, said anything, but I would look at people living my old lifestyle and be like, oh, like, that sucks. Like, I hated that. Like, you're probably spiraling or something. And I was like, okay, like but that this doesn't make you better than them. And this kind of like put me back into it, like you could be back in that situation just as easy. Like everybody is on their own journey. Like just because you are now doing something different doesn't mean they're doing something wrong, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with who you were. Because I carried a lot of shame for like who I was and things that I did along that journey, because I spiraled in so many other ways as well. And just moving through the shame I felt for that version of me, really, because that's what I was projecting onto my judgments of everybody else, was just seeing myself in them and not being proud of who I was. But now I'm finally like, again, a couple years after that fact, where I've been slowly reincorporating, like, it's okay if I go out with my boyfriend and his coworkers, if I have a drink, again, it's like not the end of the world. Like, but if I don't want to drink, I can still have fun without it, which I didn't think I could for a long time. My struggle with food is like the foundation for how I ended up healing my body, and just being aware of how I consume things all across the board. You went through a year and a half of intense hormone imbalances. How did that impact you, and what did that teach you about yourself? So, funny enough, I was just thinking about this the other day, and I feel like it was my Saturn return, funny enough, that majority of this took place. And truthfully, looking back at it now, I think it is just an accumulation of everything that I put my body through, like through my entire life, which is why it was so long. Like I didn't think there was an end in sight. Um, Originally, like my periods have always been worse, I'd say, than the normal person. Like my first period ever, I ended up bleeding for like, I'd have to ask my mom to know for sure. I want to say like a couple weeks. Like it was intense and like a lot of blood, to the point where she had to take me to the doctor and was like, I think she's losing too much blood. Like, is she okay? And they put me on like iron and some other things. And they were always painful, but like not like they were during my Saturn return. So I always had kind of struggled with them. I always would get like sharp pains, where there would be times in class where I would just like put my head down on my desk and just be like, don't, like, and for people next to me, like, don't talk to me right now. Like, I'm having period cramps, like, please, like, I'm in so much pain. And it did stayed like that for a majority of my life. In college, I had a couple episodes, is what I typically call them. Again, not anywhere near like what the Saturn returns ones were like, but there was like a day I remember I had to miss cheer practice because I was laying on my bedroom floor like in complete agony, and I told my roommate cheered with me, and she was just like, what do you want me to tell the coach? And I'm like, literally tell her I'm rolling around on the ground and cannot get up. Like my stomach hurts so badly. And again, a lot of it at the time, I always dealt with like constipation issues. So I was like, maybe it's an accumulation of like that. I don't know, but it was really intense a lot of the time. So the first time it happened, I think I was home at my parents' house, which I'm so grateful for, because one thing about my mom is she's so good at just being a mom and being there for me, especially when I'm in like a lot of pain. And I was supposed to go on a trip with my uncle. I think we were going to go to the casino or something. And I just started getting like these insane cramps, like insane. My mom was convinced I had like a cyst rupture or something. I was just like rolling around, like moaning and groaning and crying and like in so much pain that I ended up throwing up and almost passing out. And my mom was just like, oh my gosh, like, I think maybe you had a cyst rupture. Like, we need to go get you looked at. So we went to the gynecologist, and obviously they were like, we don't see anything. Like, you should go on birth control. I have always been really against birth control. I tried it a couple times, or a couple different types. Like when I first became sexually active in high school, my mom was like, we're putting you on the pill, not knowing much of it at that time, but they all gave me like really weird reactions, and I just in my gut was like, this doesn't agree with my body. Like I don't want to take it, and that's just a decision that I'm making. Like once I make a decision about something, like that's it. We're going in that direction, and you can't convince me otherwise. Similar with like even like the fast food and like certain decisions I make about my life. Once it's made, like it's made. And I honestly kind of love that about myself, because it can be really great in some ways. And I'm very grateful about it in the birth control aspect, because learning what we know now about the pill, I'm like so glad that I did not go that route, even though it was a very long, hard journey without it, because I just was facing my hormones like head on. But I found other ways to numb myself, like literally from the day I would get my period, I would take, I think they were Advils is what I took majority of the time. 3 Advil every 4 hours, every day that I was bleeding. So I just was completely shutting off the pain, and which again, knowing what I know now about Advil at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was wrecking my body another way. So I do feel like I paid for a lot of that later. And I did that for a majority of my life. Like I always had literally a whole bottle of Advil on me at all times, when I was on my period. And then that first episode happened, and we went to the gyno, I said. So, and they wanted to prescribe. So yeah, coming back to where we were in the story. They said that to just go on the pill. I was like, I don't want to go on the pill. Like, can you help me in any other way? And they were like, no, sorry. And then as a cheerleader, I did competitive cheer all through college, halfway through high school, like half of high school, and then all through college. And in college, we had like, if you wanted to be on the mat, you had to run 2 miles in under a certain amount of time. Otherwise, you're benched. And running has never been my strong suit. I love fitness, like quite literally all forms of fitness except running. It just always, I don't know, it doesn't really agree with it makes my jaw hurt. Like I don't know, it's weird. Which I would now like to kind of reapproach it with the relationship I have with my body, but we'll get there when I feel it calling to me, you know? But like in college, for sure, I was just like, I hate running. It's like the worst thing ever. And I started having these, again, I'm going to call it episodes, because even if I wasn't on my period, I would be pushing myself so much. So especially like the last lap where they're like counting down the seconds, and you're like, I gotta make it. And I would really, really push myself like to full exhaustion. I would finish it, and I would start to feel period cramps. And they would slowly ramp up and up and up and up till I got to the point where I had to run in the bathroom and literally just sit on a toilet, like hunched over, just like literally in so much pain, like crying, like what is happening? This hurts so bad. Like what is going on in my body that just running is like activating this? So I eventually told my coach about it, because the crazy thing is too, after I got over the pain, felt fucking incredible. Like, because normally we would do our run and then we would do our lift. So I would be missing for the first part of the lift because I'd be in the bathroom. But then once I came back out, like I was full of energy. Like I felt amazing. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, honestly, like this is so weird. So I told my mom about it, and she was like, yeah, something's not right. And I was talking to, I think it was either my coach or my roommate at the time, who had PCOS, so polycystic ovaries syndrome, and they were like, maybe you have cysts, like maybe you have stuff that's like popping or rupturing, like you should go get it checked out. So we go back to the gyno, same thing every time. That this is what started my like distrust for like the medical field and everything like that, because they always just had one solution for me, and it was the one thing that I said I'm not doing. And I was just like, this is not fucking helpful. Like, you know, they did the pap smear, they reached around, they were like, yeah, we don't see anything, but we can put you on the pill. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So I'm leaving again feeling frustrated. I have no answers. And I'm pretty sure that happened all through college. I remember it mostly freshman year the worst, so maybe they subsided a little bit after that. I'm not 100% sure. And then I didn't really feel pain like that again until fast forward to like my early 20s. Again, at this point, I had taken Plan B a good amount of times. Like, I was drinking, I was binging, I was purging, I was starving myself. I was like doing all the horrible things you could possibly do to your body, like wreaking total havoc. Plan B, I think, wreaked total havoc on my body, and I took it way more times than I even know. I feel so sad for that version of me. But so moving to Pittsburgh, like after I left Erie and moved to Pittsburgh, like I didn't have to take Plan B anymore or anything like that. It was like with that situationship. I'm sure you could guess. So that part was over, but I was still doing like drinking all the time and binging and still like kind of treating my body bad. I was like, that's when I started the food implementation and like starting the journey to like being a little more aware of what was going on in my body and like trying to take better care of it. But again, I was lacking the knowledge to like really take care of it. So I think it just like took some time. Then I also did Accutane, which can wreak a different level of harm on your body. And that was also a peak of my drinking era, which you should not mix the two. And I knew that, but I didn't really, again, I didn't really care or understand how severe that was. And it led me to like, which I think also is what contributed to me like deciding I didn't want to drink anymore. So like good, I guess, came out of it. Good comes out of every part of the journey because I was blacking out every weekend. Like I had drank since I was like 20, 19, 20, and never experienced what it was like when I was on Accutane, where I would wake up the next morning, have no idea what happened. I was watching videos of myself where I was a completely different person to the point where I was like so disgusted with myself and so embarrassed of myself that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like who I become. So I think I need to remove it from my life. I think I need to take a step back. Like, this is insane. And then that's kind of, again, not really quit. I guess kind of cold turkey at first. Like I was just like, I need to take a break, and I just like separated myself from the whole like party scene, drinking all the time. And this is also when I was just like, I think I need to go celibate. I was, yeah, just like hooking up with random people, that would just buy me a drink. Like, okay, you want to have sex? Like, we'll have sex. Like, again, oh my God, I would never. And the way I treat my body now, I just am like, oh my God, it's so crazy. Because that I do believe now is just like huge energetic exchange. And I was just letting random people just completely in my auric field. And I'm just like, holy crap, that's insane. So then I decided we're going to do a year of celibacy. And again, this was all around like the spiritual awakening. So I had my spiritual awakening was like, I think we need to remove alcohol. I think we need to remove the random hookups. I think we need to remove men from my life in general. I think this is where we just focus on ourselves for a little bit. That's when I got certified as a personal trainer. So this was like beginning of 2020. And at this point, again, my periods are still, they're like not great, but they're not like the worst ever. And I met my now partner in June of 2020. So like a couple months of this like really clean. Well, I guess I started my celibacy before that because I think I did make it a full year before I like met him. So the celibacy must have came first. And then like the alcohol and all of that kind of like trickled. And then I met him in June, and yeah, it was the beginning of June. And again, things are still just like as normal. Again, now I'm like with somebody who loves me and treats me well, and things were really great. But I just got certified as a personal trainer, so I'm working out like HIIT workouts and working out really hard all the time, all month long. I'm drinking those energy drinks, which I definitely feel like contributed to it, knowing what I know now about what's in those. Yeah, drinking those every single day. And again, I was still slightly dealing with the constipation, and those, man, would make me go like crazy. So I was again using it as a diuretic and as energy for my workouts. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm healthy. I'm doing all the things. Like, I'm looking fit. I'm looking great. Like, I love this. I just met the love of my life. Like, oh, life is so amazing. And I want to say probably not even a year into our relationship, we had a time where we were hooking up like right before my period. And like it got to a point where I had like I think we had to stop. I don't even feel like we finished, and though I had started having an episode, and I was like, oh my god, like, and he really didn't know what to do. I felt so bad. He was so kind and like there for me as good as he could, but obviously I'm just like in the worst pain I've ever felt, like in agony, like about to throw up, about to pass out. I'm like, I'm in so much pain. Like, oh my god, I wish my mom was here. Like all these things, because at that point I had only really felt it that extreme that one other time with my mom. So once the episode passed, like I was honestly terrified. And for a little bit, I was like, if we're a week out from my period, like we can't have sex. Like I don't know what's going on. Like that was so scary. Like I don't know. And then really nothing super intense happened for quite a while after that. I would say maybe not for like another year or so, because I met him right around when I turned 25. So yeah, probably like maybe even a year or two before the next episode happened. And it happened, I was actually visiting a friend in Erie. Again, all of these things always happened when I like wasn't in my home, which I felt was also like teaching me something. Maybe like this is why we're careful about who we're around, like because I'm so grateful for each person that has guided me through one of these moments. Um, but we were at a restaurant like going to get breakfast, and a lot of times at this point I had like a strict schedule. Like when I'm on my period I have to wake up and immediately eat breakfast so I can take my Advil, because again at this point I knew a little more. I'm like, I can't take it on an empty stomach, but I'm still going to take it. So I was like, we have to eat ASAP so I can take my medicine so I don't have crazy cramps. And we were just like taking a little bit longer to get ready. I remember I was texting my boyfriend. I'm like, oh, we still haven't left for breakfast. I'm like starting to get nervous. Like I started overthinking in my head. Like, oh my gosh, like I just am so, I was terrified of them. It is quite literally the most intense pain. Like nowadays, I feel like it has prepped me. Moms don't comfort me because I won't know this until I actually have a baby, but I feel like it's preparing me for childbirth and just being able to surrender to that intense, sharp, like all encompassing pain. Um, but it's either I could feel it coming or I ruminated and like brought it on. Again, I don't necessarily know, but so we're at the restaurant. We order our food and we're like sitting there waiting for it, and I can just like I can always tell. Like now, the more and more I get into this journey, I can pick up on my body's cues like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel it happening. Like, can we get bread to our table or something? Like, I need to put something in my tummy so I can take this medicine. And the food had like just got there. I literally like took a couple bites of it, and so I could take the medicine. Obviously, it was like too late at that point, and it just started like rapidly started picking up. And so a lot of times when I have these episodes, which is why for a while I thought I had endometriosis. Again, this is probably going to be TMI for people, but I always would have to shit. So it was like a full purge moment. Like I'd be sitting on the toilet, a lot of times a clot would come out, I'd be shitting, puking, like full purge moment. And oh my gosh, this was probably the worst one because I was in such a public space, and it was just like so uncomfortable to navigate in a public restroom and stuff. So originally I like run back. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. Like I have to be sitting on a toilet so I can just like do my thing and like self-soothe myself. And I went, and the ladies' room was like locked for some reason. So there's a lady waiting outside and it's locked, and she's like, yeah, somebody went to get her. So I'm just like in this restaurant, like literally on the floor, just like this, like on the verge of tears, like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm literally in a public place. Like I just want to lay in a bed. Like this is so scary. And I remember everybody would just be like, are you? I'm like, I'm just having really intense period cramps and I need somebody to let me in that bathroom like ASAP. Um, and eventually, I get in and I get to sit on the toilet for a little bit, like some stuff passes, like whatever, and I come out and like think I'm doing better, but then like a second wave comes, and I'm like, I told my friend, I'm like, I just have to go like lay in my, like I just want to be somewhere that seems familiar to me, so I'm just gonna like lay in my car. And I laid in my car for, honestly, time feels so weird during these. It could have been 30 minutes, it could have been an hour. Because I was actually going to watch my college cheer team practice after this, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I just told my friend, I'm like, can you just like package my food? And I'm like, there's really even no way for you to help me in these moments. I just need to like soothe myself through it. And I remember after that being like, oh my gosh, like we have to do something. Like this can't happen again. Like that was so terrifying. So then I go, like, after the trip, go back to Pittsburgh. And again, I think this is when I really dive in even deeper to like what's going on with the hormones. I have so many hormone books at this point, just like reading like all these different things. And I'm like, so maybe since I'm having to shit and there was talk of cysts before or like what, I'm like, what, maybe I have endometriosis. But these episodes outside of the runs that would happen in college, they only happen when I'm on my period. Typically, for a while, it was day one. Like, it would always just be that first day, like, knock it out, which ended up changing the further I went into it. But I was like, maybe it's estrogen dominance. Like, maybe we start trying things for estrogen dominance. And, like, I started shifting because there's so many things that contribute to estrogen dominance. That's what most women struggle with PMS. Everything in our environment that is plastics and microplastics are interpreted in our body as estrogen, which is why then we get an overflow of estrogen. Our body isn't able to balance it with the progesterone. So many things, and that's when I started learning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, even today, I still have some things because, again, it is a long process to detox your body from plastic in the world we live today. So it started with like plastic water bottles. Had to stop drinking out of the plastic water bottles, which sucks because, again, those are so easy and so convenient, but detrimental to our health. We switched to stainless steel cooking and only wooden or stainless steel like cooking utensils, all glass Tupperware. Got rid of the plastic Tupperware, and just like piece by piece by piece, similar with the food. Again, you can never do things all at once. It's way too overwhelming. So if I could, anybody leave this with something, it's just take it one thing at a time is the best. And then you'll look back and all of a sudden everything has changed just by doing one thing. Clothes is like the last piece because as a fitness instructor, it's extremely hard and I'm still on that journey. But also even the products that I use while I'm on my period, like don't use tampons, I don't use pads, I use period underwear, which again is still kind of hard not to have polyester because of the water wicking ability. So I'm still trying to find like something that's all cotton. I do a lot of free bleeding for that reason because that's helpful in the sense. So yeah, then I just started like piece by piece trying different things that I was reading in my book because I was, again, anytime that I went to the gynecologist, they all said the same thing. And I was like, I'm over this. So I'm going to figure this out on my own. This is, again, at this point, I'm like, this feels part of my life path. I'm meant to heal this so I can help other women heal this. So piece by piece, I'm going through and trying to figure it out. And sometimes some periods would be a little better than others. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting somewhere. And then I would have a really bad one. And again, the first couple episodes that happened, like the very first couple were like years apart. And then they gradually started getting closer and closer. So after the Erie trip, that was right before nationals. So that was probably like March, April of, I don't know, 2022 or 2023, probably 2022. And because I always would go to Bonnaroo in June. So right before I went to Bonnaroo in June, it was the period right before, and I was supposed to be on my period for Bonnaroo that year. I was at another friend's house, and we were just like listening to rave music. Like I was getting all excited for going to Bonnaroo, and again, it was day one of my cycle, but I was feeling pretty good. I was, vibing. I was able to dance to the music. I wasn't in full hibernation mode because I thought I felt good, which now also that's kind of not a red flag, but like almost if I feel too good to be true, it's because like the other end of the pendulum is usually going to swing on through. And right as I was like packing up to get ready to leave her apartment, I started having another episode. And this was probably the longest, to this day, that was probably the longest, worst episode I've ever had. It lasted like an hour long, of pure agony, like genuine agony of me just like being on the couch and then running to the bathroom to release, going back on the couch, rolling around, running to the bathroom to release, just back and forth, back and forth. And it got to a point where, yeah, I was like starting to pass out. And she was like, oh my God, no. Like, and I was like, literally, I am in so much pain right now. Please let me pass out. Like, I will be back. I will be fine. Like, I want to be out of my body. Like, let me completely leave this space. Please. Like, I'm begging you, let me pass out. Which is so crazy to think about. But I just remember that was life-changingly scary. And it was right before I was going to leave for Bonnaroo, where I was going to be at a camping festival on my period again. And I remember just thinking, like, I was terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I am walking around the campgrounds miles away from my tent and I start having an episode in the middle of the campgrounds? And granted, everybody there is so nice and so ready to help, but like they would probably call emergency vehicles on me. Like, it is a terrifying situation, and most people don't know what to do. I mean, I don't blame you. Most people have never experienced something like that. And so I remember that whole month, like after that day prepping for the festival, I was just like so terrified and just like thinking, like, how can I avoid this? I tried to, with the knowledge I had at that time, do all the right things, like absolutely no plastic. I have to eat certain things. I have to do certain things. I can only do, and I was like being so careful with it because I was just like, I need to avoid that at all costs. Like, my favorite place on earth. Like, I really don't want to have one of the most painful experiences I've ever had in my most favorite place. Like, it would just ruin the whole experience. And I was like so upset about that, which it ended up not happening. Like, I ended up, this had to have been 2023 then instead of 2022, because 2023 actually ended up being my favorite year that I ever went to Bonnaroo. I didn't know if it was like just being on the campgrounds or because I was like so strict leading up to it, but I literally, like, it was the best period I had had in years. I like barely felt it. It was just like so perfect, and I had the best time, and I was like, oh my gosh, so maybe we are on the right track. Maybe we are doing things right. But then it was probably like a couple cycles after that, then I had another episode. So they were at this point like a couple months apart. And then it quickly, then we're like coming up into the Saturn return, quickly started becoming every single cycle I would have an episode. And that lasted for, yeah, like a year and a half, 2 years. And I was, at this point, I was so knowledgeable. I had learned so much, because when they were spaced out like that, like in between each one, I was learning more. I was changing more in my life, in my environment, and doing things differently, like really like trying to figure this out. And I would always be like, oh, I have had a couple good ones. Like, I'm on the right track. Like, I've healed it. I figured it out. Boom, I would have another one. And then once it started happening every single cycle, once I think I had 3 in a row, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, we have made no progress. Like, what is actually going on? And that's when I started looking deeper into like, okay, maybe it's like an energetics thing. Maybe it's like an embodiment thing. Maybe like, the throat and the womb are linked. Maybe because of all the things that I hold in and don't speak my truth or don't share online, like maybe all of that is getting stored, or maybe it's past trauma that's being stored. And this is where it lines up with like the creation of the sacred shake method. Then I'm like, okay, like maybe we need to start shaking it all through the month. Maybe we need to start moving through my emotions somatically. Maybe we need to, like, literally I was thinking of everything under the fucking sun to try and get this to stop happening to me. And I do think it was like a accumulation of quite literally everything. I think there were environmental factors, like thinking back to how many years I wreaked complete havoc on my body, let men in me that I don't even fucking know, like taking the Plan B, taking the Accutane, drinking, like purging, like all of those things. I think how much time I spent doing that, it was just having to work its way out of me in different ways. And like, I guess I'm grateful for how it like slowly came on to me, so I could learn the way that I was in between each one and implementing little bits more and more and more each time. But that's where like I try not to talk about it like I'm fully on the other side, because when I had a couple good cycles in a row and I was like, oh, I've healed it, I did, I finally, again, once I finally am like, yes, we're on the other side, we're totally healed, then it comes back a lot of times. I feel like, again, to just recheck me, like, no, you're always going to be on this journey of learning your body. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know, because there's literally so freaking much. And everyone, again, because I want to use this to help other women, and I'm like, every woman is literally completely different, so then there's like even more layers to learn. But because that's where like even it ending, like I would have a couple good ones and I was like, I did it. And then there would be another episode and then like a couple good ones and then another. So I feel like it's trailing off the same way it like started. So I'm not even speaking like I'm totally in the clear. My periods are healed forever, but I'm in such a much better place with it. And I have learned literally so much, even with how to move through the experience, because when you're going through something that is so deeply painful on like every level, your body wants to like tense and clench and like just wish to be like out of body. And it's funny, honestly, some of the methods I learned for like how to navigate that are like for women going through childbirth, like because I never think it's too soon to start prepping for things like that. It's going to be a literal life-changing experience and I don't take that lightly at all. But like even hearing about how some of the women can like it can be out of body, it can be psychedelic, it can be all of these things, and it's all about, which I say in my sacred shake all the time, surrendering to the pain. Like soft, when your body wants to clench so badly, you like exhale and you soften and you allow yourself to like fall into the pain. And the last couple episodes I also started telling my boyfriend, I'm like, these are our birth prep. I just need you to know. So we need to nail how you're going to execute this and how I'm going to execute this, because now I fully just feel like the whole point is because I'm going to give a natural birth and we need to prepare for this because it's going to be crazy. So he has gotten better. He like knows like how to soothe. Like sometimes I just want to hear like the same word over and over, like just touch my back, like not too much. Like I'm already doing a lot in my head. I need him to do like, it's not even like minimal because it's a very important, crucial piece, but it's the simpler the better. And then with me, my biggest focus is always just like relaxing into it. Like mostly for him, I'm like, repeat the word relax, repeat the word soften, repeat the word surrender, because like truly that's what I need to just practice and do. And I think we talked about this before. One of the what I thought was my last episode, and then there was like a couple months before I had an episode again, was when I was at another music festival this past year, and it was actually when I took a little bit too much acid and felt like I was going through a complete rebirth. And at this point I didn't even get my period yet. So that's why I was just like, oh, we're just rebirth, because I was like, this pain feels exactly like an episode, and I'm like, that's so weird because I'm not on my period. But thinking back to in college, I did get these episodes when I wasn't on my period because of running. I was putting my body through something so intense that it was activating whatever this is. And I was feeling that way when I was rolling around in my tent, and I was just like, you know how to handle this. Relax, soften. You're rebirthing again. And God was talking to me so clearly, like, birth is not easy and it's not painless. Like it's painful because you're shedding a lot. Like just fall into it, just like let it happen. But it's funny because during that experience when I was feeling like I was going to pass out, I was terrified of it. And like thinking back to the first couple episodes where I was just like, let me pass out, like I know I'll be back, like it's fine, like I want that. And then in that moment I was like so afraid of that, and every time it's happened since then I'm so afraid of that. And I'm like, it's interesting because I don't know where that fear like came from or started from. I think part of it maybe was because the first time I feared it was when I had taken too much acid, and part of me was like, I'm dying. Like I'm fading into, like I see the light, I see the white light, like I'm dying. If I let go, if I fully surrender and relax the way that I want you to get out of this pain, like what about my cats? Like what about Chris? Like I'm literally in another country right now. Like so many people, like so much I'm here to do. And I was like, I can't. And I just kept gripping and pulling myself back into the pain and back into the experience because I was so terrified of what was coming from that deep state of relaxation. And now I feel like there's a remnants of that because I had another episode. It was cold outside, so it was probably when we were home for Christmas, maybe, or maybe Thanksgiving time of this past year, because I was in St. Mary's where my family's from, and me and my boyfriend were leaving Walmart and we were about to go to breakfast. Again, I hadn't eaten yet and I was just like, but I don't do like the eat and Advil anymore because I've actually started playing around with, I was reading a book that talked about, because I don't get an appetite much when I'm on my period. Like the week before is like I'm starving and I need lots of food. My body's burning a lot of extra calories. But on my period, I don't really have much of an appetite. And they were like, that's for a reason. Like you should be fasting more so that your body can focus on what it needs to do, focus on the functions, cleaning itself out. Like if you do feel hungry, eat and eat nourishing meals. Like you want lots of iron and magnesium, but if you don't feel hungry, like again, listen to your body's cues. I'm really big on just like the listening to my body in any way, shape, or form. And so a lot of that is not really eating that much. But there's a restaurant that we love back home, and I was like, I'm down to, I'll just like have a couple bites and I can like save it for when I'm feeling hungry. But we never even left the car. We were sitting there and he's like, okay, you want to go in? And I was like, honestly, I need a couple minutes. I don't know. I don't feel good. We also, like smoked a little bit beforehand, which I don't know if that activated it or like, because it was the next episode after the acid trip one. So I was just like, I got a little bit too high and I was like, oh, I'm too high. I'm a little uncomfortable. This started the journey of me not smoking, honestly, anymore during the day. And I was just like, oh, I'm having that uncomfortable feeling. Like, I want to be sober again. Like, I don't like this. And then I was just like, I need some time before we go in the restaurant because it was like an accumulation of like, I feel a little bit too high right now. And my stomach's starting to hurt. Like, I'm on, it's day one. Like, I'm just not feeling that great. And then it slowly started. Honestly, it went quickly into just like, he looked at me and was like, oh my God, your lips are white. Are you okay? And I was like, I literally feel like I'm going to pass out. And I was like, I don't know if it's because, yeah, I'm too high or I'm in too much pain or what's going on. But like, I feel like I'm going to pass out and I'm so scared. Like, am I going to come back if I pass out? And he was just like, then he got scared and he was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Like, we need to get you home. We need to get you home right now. So, and I was in the driver's seat. So he like carried me out of the driver's seat into the passenger seat and was like calling my parents, like, what's your guys' address? I need to get her home. Like, and that was at that point, because I had told him about what happened at the music festival, and I told him to, because I was like, it was a rebirth. I was like, ding, ding, ding. I was like, this is our practice for birth. I'm like, now we can look at this as our practice. So the whole time I was just like, all right, babe, this is it. Like, we need to assume position, like do what we're supposed to do. I'm like laying on the ground at my parents' house, like in the bathroom, like by the toilet. And I was just like, repeat this word to me. And I like do this. And I was just like, again, soothing myself. At this point, I'm like, I feel like I'm a pro at this. Like, I know exactly what to do, how to get myself through. It fucking sucks every time. Do not get me wrong, it is the worst pain I've ever felt. But again, when you do it so many times, you start to be like, okay, we can handle this. We just have to do what we know how to do. And I feel like that, as right now, may have been the last like really intense one. Because since then, like there's been times where it moved to like it was day 4 or it was day 3 or it was day 1. So I've also been trying to like pick up on the patterns of that throughout this entire journey. I wish I would have documented it all better. Like now I have like a cycle book specifically where every day I write what day of my cycle it is, how I feel, like if it's my period, like did we have an episode, did we not, did we have cramps at all, did we not, like all of those things. I wish I would have done that at the beginning because wow, the amount of information I could have accumulated. But I do keep a journal, so a lot of the episodes are definitely journaled about at the very least, so I can like siphon through and probably find where I'm like, oh, had another episode today, like this is what happened, this is how we handled it. But now I'll get like some pains, like it's interesting because again, I think there's like so much of that fear that I'm holding on to because it is just, I don't even want to say traumatizing, but low key it has been some of them. And sometimes I'll like feel it start to coming on and I immediately like go into baby myself mode. Like I have to like curl up on my couch, get my heating pack, like babe, you have to hand me everything for the next couple hours because I feel like a level 2 like underlying pain. And I'm like, if I'm afraid if I do any slight movement, it's just gonna spike and take me over the edge, and all before I know it, I'm in an episode. So I really like baby myself in that sense, but it's interesting. I've found like, I think it was a couple weeks ago, probably it must have been the new moon last month because I had a flow to do. Luckily, it was like the first new moon, I think, and I only had like 3 girls in the class. So I love a small class, honestly. So I was like, oh, it's perfect. but I was feeling not great all day, like maybe like a level 5 of cramps, which is like normally I stay around like a 3 or a 4 nowadays. Like it's literally so amazing compared to what I used to have. But I remember just being like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do class? Like, part of me was like, I feel like shaking might help. It might actually be the release that I need. And then the other part of me was like, what if it again, I always have that thought in my head, what if it gets worse? And what if I have an episode in front of everybody? And it's crazy. Literally, like 30 minutes before I needed to leave, like when I needed to get up and start getting dressed and ready to go, all the cramps were gone. And I felt incredible. And I went and I led class. I did the entire class with them. And I was like, oh, I feel so fucking great. And I went home and I was like, God, that felt so amazing. And then like once I like calmed back down and like ate something for dinner, then I feel like those level like 2, 3 cramps started coming back. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like it opened up just for me to teach that class. And I'm like, that's how I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Like even my cramps disappeared for it. Like, oh my gosh, what a gift. But yeah, so that is probably the longest story ever, but it really has been like such a long journey. There's like so many different levels to it, and each cycle has taught me something new about my body. And again, I feel like there's still so much more for me to learn, and I am starting to want to branch out and like ask other women about their cycles and see if some of the things that I learned can help them, or if they might need totally different things, because again, we all are so different, that part of me now even understands, like I get why they just give people birth control, because it's so much harder to learn what's actually going on for each individual person and give them each their own thing. Like I don't take Tylenol or any sort of like painkillers during my cycle anymore, but I do have like a very strict like luteal phase, like week before my period. Like I do a topical progesterone to help with the facilitating of progesterone, which one cycle I was, feeling like I figured it out, was like, maybe we don't, like my body should, because eventually I don't want to have to take any medicine. I believe our body at optimal health shouldn't need like stuff like that. And I was like, oh, we'll try not taking it. And then it came right back. I had like a horrible period, and I was like, okay, so we do need to stay on that for a little bit. And I do like castor oil packs and like take magnesium at night. And like there are certain things that have like really become a part of my routine and I feel like help a ton. But yeah, again, as horrible and as long as it's been, I'm still grateful that this is the journey I chose to take instead of just shutting off my hormones this whole time. Because truly, I'm like, if this is how things went with me just like facing them, I can't even imagine how they would have came at me if I shut them off for majority of my life and then tried to manage them. I just like, again, everything happens exactly as it's supposed to, but yeah, I'm just very grateful, I guess, that I took the hard route. I don't know. That feels so crazy, but I feel like it's part of what I came here to learn and do and teach. And it taught me really that I'm capable of so much more than I thought. That, pain is our greatest teacher. And the wisdom that pain can give you is enough to ripple out and create something beautiful. Are you fully free in your body now, or is it still in process? So I would say like 90%. The only reason I say that there's a 10% is because there are still little, because I don't believe you can ever like fully heal things and it's just like gone forever. And I'm free in the sense that like I love my body now so much. Granted, there's always going to be things that you wish you could change a little bit. But I really love and cherish it so deeply, and I treat it as such and have so much fun treating it that way. Like some people look at taking care of themselves as like maybe like a burden. Like I remember I was just, oh, that's just like so hard. Like I'd rather just like give in to my impulses. But I'm like, oh, it's so amazing. Like it's just so much better when you are devoted to like loving yourself. Granted, there are certain things, like certain insecurities, I guess, that I've had since I was like a little girl. Like I have I'm one of those women that has like that little bump at the bottom of their stomach. No matter how skinny I got, I never had a perfectly flat stomach like my sister. Like that's just how I'm made. And again, that may tie into like the hormones, which again, another reason why I was like, oh, I have an endometriosis belly. Like that's what I have. Like that's what it is. And now I'm like, maybe that's just how I'm made. And that's to like show women that you don't have to have a perfectly flat stomach to be beautiful and to love and accept yourself. So there are days, like obviously in the luteal phase, where it gets more bloated or more accentuated, where I'll find myself being like, oh, like I just wish. And then I'm like, stop. Like because I also will get in the mindset, like I take such good care of my body now. Like, why do I still have this? Like, that's not fair. And I'm like, but maybe that's not the point. Like, maybe the point is to find this beautiful too, is to like see that, again, with all the Virgo in my chart, the obsession with perfection, that perfection is not like the end goal. Like imperfection is truly like so beautiful and so admirable. Like it feels so silly even being like 30 years old. Have you heard of Addison Rae? Mm-hmm. She was like a TikToker. Now she's like a pop star. She has a very similar body type to mine, like her stomach. And I have always resented like low rise stuff because high rise hides it for me. It hides my biggest insecurity. And she rocks low rise everything. That's like her aesthetic. And I'll see things online, obviously, where some people are like she needs to cover that up, like her stomach isn't flat, like da da da. And then some people who are obviously praising her for it, like it's amazing that she owns her body like that. And I'm like, I couldn't agree more. Like I have never been somebody who would go out in public in low rise because like maybe first thing in the morning, like it looks great, but once I start like just like eating or I'm not standing in perfect posture flexing in the mirror, like then I don't love how it looks. And then it sends me on like a spiral. And I love following people like her, which again, it feels so probably cringe, like Addison Rae, like, are you serious? But like she genuinely has the same body type as me in that area. And I aspire to be that level of just like, I'm a bad bitch exactly how I am. Like I love that. Like I'm still slowly, there are some things that I'll wear that are like starting to get mid-rise, moving to the low rise. Because part of me is like, it's okay if you just feel better in certain cuts of clothes because of your body type, like that's awesome too. But part of me just wants to overcome it, wants to be like fine and okay and happy with just like not giving a single fuck what anybody is like thinking when they look at me, and just being so full and happy in myself, like I have found in other areas of my life. Like another biggest insecurity was my nose. I have wanted a nose job literally since I was in 7th grade, I think, because that was the first time I started getting made fun of for it. And now I love, like genuinely, actually, that's what I want to get to, the place with my stomach that I do with my nose. Because now, again, maybe it's because plastic surgery has become so normalized. Like I always wanted bigger lips, smaller nose, like that. I knew like a month, maybe even a week into knowing Chris, I told him out. I'm like, I'm sure obviously you like me, so you think I'm beautiful as I am, but I am getting a nose job someday. So I just need you to be okay with that, because that's a decision I'm making for myself. And I just like laid, and he was just like, I mean, yeah, I definitely don't think you need that, but if that's what makes you happy, like, sure. And I was like, okay, I just need to make sure you're cool with that, because it has been like something I told myself I was for sure gonna do since I was in 7th grade. Like, crazy to think about. But now, yeah, I feel like it's almost so normalized for everyone to have the look that I always wanted. And now I'm like, it's just not cool to me anymore. I don't know. I think I've met so many women, and going to music festivals was a big factor in this. Like, going to Bonnaroo for the first time, it really changed how I view beauty completely, and just loving myself and who I am. Like, just to be around that much unique, incredible, just like beautiful people. And they're not beautiful because they're conventionally beautiful. They're beautiful because their soul is literally radiating for like miles. And I'm just like, oh, that's what I want to be. Like, that's the kind of beautiful I want to be. I don't want to be Instagram beautiful anymore, the way I have been chasing that my whole freaking life. Like, I've always been obsessed with changing who I am to fit certain molds. And a lot of that I feel like contributes to my upbringing, moving all the time. We moved roughly every 2 years. I went to 8 schools by the time I graduated high school. And every time we moved, there was new things that were cool. There was a new beauty standard. There were new, and I shapeshifted every time to fit what was cool or what would make me accepted. And then it got to a point when I was an adult, well, really the past couple years, and I was just like, who am I? Because even when I came to Pittsburgh, it was like the dark hair, the big lips, the tan skin. I was like, oh, yes, I love it. I've like found myself. And then I was like, actually, but this still isn't me. Like I am still hiding behind so many things, like even getting Botox and filler. Like after my spiritual awakening, I was always that spiritual girl that cared so much about what I ate and listened to and consumed in so many aspects of my life, but I still got Botox twice a year, and I was still dyeing my hair and fake tanning, and I got lip filler because I was still hiding behind a mask that I thought I needed to be beautiful. And it honestly wasn't until like the end of my Saturn return, like the last couple months of it, where I was just like, I'm still hiding. Like, why do I feel like I still need these things? If I've genuinely like found so much love for myself on the inside, like, why am I still falling susceptible to these beauty standards? Like, why do I feel like I need these things or to hide behind these things? Like, I had been addicted to tanning, like fake tanning, for 10 years. And for the first 5 of those years, I went every single day, every day for 5 years. And then the second half of those 5 years, I went anywhere from like one to a couple times a week, still pretty much constantly. And even though I like went through a phase where, I was getting the Botox and the skincare now, so I wasn't tanning my face, but I still needed to tan my body because that's the only way I felt that like my body looked good. That's the only way my stomach looked acceptable. That's the only way that like I felt good enough. And I don't even know where that started, to be honest. That's been since I was young. I've resented how pale I was since I was young. But it just, yeah, got to a point at the end of last year where I was just like, why am I still doing this? Like, it felt like chains from a past, like an old version of me still gripping. And I was like, what would happen if I just like let them all go? Because it wasn't last year, it was probably the year before last year. I think it was 2023 that I dissolved my lip filler, which mine was also poorly done. Granted, I feel like if it was done better, I don't know that I would have went ahead with dissolving, because dissolving was also so painful and I don't recommend. That was horrible. Um, and now it like gave me wrinkles on certain parts of my lips that, again, I'm not saying I'm never going to do these things again. Like, but for where I'm only 30. I'm so young. Like, why do I feel like I need those right now for like expression lines? Like, again, maybe when I'm older, like, who knows? But again, I'm starting to see the beauty in like a naturally aging woman now. Like, again, my perception of beauty has changed so, so much. And that could also contribute to having a man in my life too that just the love that I give myself. He just amplifies that. He loves me so much and thinks I'm so beautiful. And like, it's like you're already giving that validation to yourself, and then it's being doubled down, and it's just like, what am I doing right now? Why am I chasing these things? I'm so great, like, as I am. I remember there was a year I would always train before I went to Bonnaroo, because it's a marathon of just like miles and miles and miles of walking, hours and hours and hours of dancing, like non-stop in the blazing Tennessee heat. Like, it was a freaking experience. And I remember the one year I have to get Botox before I go to this thing, and you can't really work out right after you get Botox, and you can't really be in the heat and all these things, because I would take what their recommendation was and like triple it. I'm like, do things and go the extra mile type of girl. So I was like, I'm not gonna move my face, I'm not gonna move my body, and I completely cut half of my training out for it and was miserable while I was Bonnaroo because I wanted my face to be frozen. Like, that is so silly. I'm like laughing at myself for that. I'm like, what the, nobody there even cares too. Like, this is the place that I found real beauty, and I still was like, I don't care, I need to have my face frozen. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I have to feel perfect in these photos or it's not gonna be good enough. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, that's so silly. And that's where, like, last year, even for my 30th, like, I had given it up before turning 30. So, like, I dissolved my lip filler in, like, 2023. It was, like, September of 2023. And then with the intention of dissolving and refilling properly. But then I was just like, again, what am I doing? Why do I need to refill? So And then I got my last round of Botox. It was the full moon in Sagittarius. So probably like May of 2024, or had to be 2023. Because, yeah, I didn't have any leading up to my 30th. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's my 30th. Like, I need to look perfect for my 30th. And all those old thoughts started trickling back in. I'm like, oh my gosh, but I need to be tan. Because I stopped with tanning at this point too. And I was like, I do need to be tan. I do need to have a frozen face. Like all these things. I'm turning 30. This is the birthday I've been looking forward to for 5 years. Like I'm not somebody who dreaded 30 at all. I think it's such a celebration of life. And I am so happy to be here. But I was like, why do I want to look 20? Like, why am I still thinking that that is like the epitome of my beauty? And I was just like, even leading up to it, I posted a video on TikTok about it and kept saying too, like, I'm not saying I'm not totally going to get it for my 30th. These are just thoughts that I'm having, and I'm feeling really good about these thoughts right now, because I know a lot of times when you get cocky and you say things, then you end up eventually doing them. So I'm always just like, you never know what's going to happen. But my mindset right now is like, I'm not going to do it. And I felt so good about it. Even looking at all the photos that I took, I was like, what do I even need it for? Like, why was I doing that? And granted, I think a lot of it at the time, because when I first moved to Pittsburgh and I worked corporate, there were a lot of ladies in the office who would always talk, they're going to get their lip filler redone, they're getting their Botox. And I remember sitting there like, why are you guys doing all of this? Like, that's ridiculous. But my best friend at the time, she was very much in like the aesthetics world. She did lash extensions and lash lifts and stuff like that. And she had less movement naturally in her face than I did. She was literally one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. And she started getting Botox. And I was like, and she one day like had me like raise my brows or something. She was like, oh, I didn't even have that much movement. I got it done. She's like, I definitely think you should get it. And I remember I took a selfie with her on my 23rd birthday, 22nd or, and yeah, 23rd or 24th birthday maybe. And that was the first time I was like comparing my face to hers. And that was the first time I was like, yikes, yeah, I definitely need to get that. And that is really what started the journey for me. And again, looking back, I'm like, well, that should have been like, again, a flag. Because I remember she would always say, like, we're going to save you up money and finally get you that nose job and like all these things. It was just like very much I was so in that world where it was just like, we have to fit an image because we're going on boats and we're doing all these things and we're with all these rich guys and we need to fit the part and we need to do all these things. And I'm like so grateful that I got to experience that part of life, because growing up, that's what I thought I wanted 100%. I wanted to be on the boats. I wanted to get bottle service. I wanted to look like the Instagram models. I wanted to do all the things, but it didn't give me near the fulfillment that living my life now, like fully authentic to me, does. If your younger self was here right now, what would you say to her? And if your future self was here right now, what would she tell you to stop holding back? I'll start with the future self because I feel like that's easier. She would just say, post the damn shit. Post your content. Like, stop being scared to just do it, because as soon as you do it, like literally all your, like, it's crazy because I already feel like I'm living a dream that I used to have, but like it's just gonna get better and better. I have these talks with myself all the time. I feel like my future self talks to me all the time. That's almost what I think of when I am talking to God. He's just like, because God, universe, source is all seen, just knows all things, and it's always like, if you do this, like this is exactly what comes from this. And I'm like, I know, but it's just hard right now. I'm trying so hard. But yeah, she would just say, keep going after it, keep taking it a step at a time, because again, I don't want to overwhelm myself, which I remind myself when I feel like I'm moving slow, like we're taking it piece by piece, because I have like a little sign. I forget when, I probably got it in college to like decorate my dorm. It's just a random sign. It says, find joy in the journey. And it has traveled with me everywhere. It's such a pretty color green, such a pretty font. I always bring it. And now I read it every single morning. And I'm like, oh, like this was definitely meant to come with me, because I feel like this is the whole point. And that's what I try not to be like, I just want to get to the next step, because sometimes I can get too like, but I'm just enjoying the ride, and I can take a little too long. I can enjoy it too much and I'm just sitting and not moving forward. So I'm like, there's that happy medium where it's like we're still taking steps forward, life is still moving fast, things are happening, and we're still enjoying the journey. But to my younger self, this is gonna make me emotional. Just that it gets so much better. Trust yourself, keep going. It gets so much better. And it would be hard for her to even hear because I don't think I even knew what trusting myself meant. Um, keep spending time with yourself. Once I started really like separating myself from the outside world and like, yeah, all the parties and the bling and just like the lavish lifestyle that I was like, the facade I was living in, the more time I started spending with myself, it's when I really reconnected back with journaling and like started creating my own spiritual practices, is when I started to really hear God and the divine speak to me for the first time and actually hear that voice and to be able to listen to that voice. So I would just say, like, all of the things that you think are impossible, you are literally going to do. Just keep spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself. And that's where all the magic will happen. What is the biggest lesson that life is teaching you right now? And what are you learning to love about yourself? So I think the biggest lesson I'm learning right now, because I'm very much in a season where my capacity is being stretched. I feel like I went from living such a busy life where everything was just like so loud and so crowded and so busy, like so disconnected all the time, that once I found like peace and stillness, I was like, oh, I want to be here forever. And I didn't move the needle forward for a long time, like a couple years, but I feel like it was so very necessary to just restore my body from all the havoc that I wreaked on it, to spend the time just learning about my hormones instead of focusing on like, what are we doing next? Like, where are we going next? So it was very necessary. Um, and there's a part of me that wanted to just keep gripping onto it forever. But the biggest lesson that I'm moving through right now is that it's okay to let go. There has been a part of me that has feared even like opening my own studio and just like going back to having to clock in somewhere in any capacity, because I don't ever want life to feel the way it once did. Um, but the other part of me is always just like living your passion and living the life that you were like, they're incomparable. Yes, you may have to clock in somewhere, you may have more responsibilities, you may have more things to do in a day, and you're not going to be able to spend 4 hours doing a morning routine. And that's fine. Again, there's so much beauty in the fact that I've been able to do that for so long, but there's also going to be so much beauty in helping women in the way that I really feel called to help them. And just reminding myself that the capacity is being stretched to hold more because you are meant for more. Because again, I built such a beautiful comfort zone that is like everything during those chapters that I really dreamed of. Yeah, being able to wake up when I want. I film feet content full time. So like I'm either filming feet content or doing whatever I want, spending 2-3 hours at the gym if I want to, literally going out for lunches and brunches with women, whatever, because I have an open schedule all the time. And like now, not so much anymore, because again, I have so many more things on my plate that I'm gradually adding on piece by piece. And sometimes when my days are busy and I don't get to do all the things in the morning I wanted to do, like part of me wants to get upset about it and grip and be like, this is why we wanted to stay there. And I'm like, but I'm so fulfilled. Like I'm meeting so many amazing women, you included, like building such a beautiful community and building such a beautiful practice, like the Sacred Shake method, to be able to share that with the world and see women afterwards say like, oh, all the things that it moved through them and how light they feel and like all, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so like all the things I feel, like you guys are actually feeling it too, like it does work. Because there is a part of you that will like doubt those things, like, yes, that's what it does for me, but is that what it's going to do for other people? Like, I don't know. I guess we're going to try it and see. And like based on the response, I'm like, oh my gosh, it is exactly the magic that I thought it was. And wow, what a gift to be like women. I have some women who sign up every single week that are always in class because of what it does for them. And I'm like, oh, Like, this is what it's going to feel like even more. Like, imagine when, yeah, I have my own studio and I have a woman who tells me that she was having episodes of herself and I've helped her heal her hormones. Like, I can't even, like, fathom that. And I know that that's someday where it's headed. And that's why I'm just like, ugh, I'm grateful for the extra workload. I'm grateful to have more to work on because it's all things I love that I'm excited for. I may spend 5 to 8 hours making one singular playlist, but I love it at the end of the day when I listen to that playlist during class, and it is just like so good. And I'm just feeling like so proud of myself for creating that beautiful masterpiece, even like creating a new flow, like all these things. Like sometimes, anytime really that I get stressed about something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, I immediately am like, oh my god, I'm so grateful. Like, do you remember when you had so much to do and you gave a fuck about none of it? All of it sucked ass and you hated it so much and you had no idea what you wanted to do with your life. You were just working towards nothing. And I'm like, what a blessing. Like, truly, what a blessing to be working on all the things I'm working on. And I'm like so quick to get myself out of those mindsets, which I feel like is just part of what I've learned along the journey and all of this, and just like really loving every part of the human experience, even the grind, even the parts that are like, oh, they really suck, I'm exhausted and I really don't want to do this right now, but we're doing it because we freaking love our life. Look at what we've created, and we can create more. Like, we can create so much more of this. So yeah, that my capacity is being stretched, but it's in that phase where I'm like, training wheels just came off and it's a little wobbly. I'm still trying to figure it out. Some days are better than others, but I'm like so grateful. And I know the more that the days go by, I'm just going to get better and better and better at mastering this level. Before we tackle the next level, it's going to be even more, expect even more of me. But again, I'm just reaching, I think of it all as just we're reaching my fullest potential, and just all of those things I was thinking about when I was like, oh my gosh, am I fading it away into like the abyss? And I was like, all the things I came here to do, that's what we're moving towards. And what are you learning to love about yourself? So it's definitely, now that it's the summer months and I already have like a little bit of color back on my skin, I would be lying if I said I'm totally over not being tan all the time. I work with a photographer who also does like feet fetish content, and that's when I started noticing it the most. When I first gave it up, I was like, oh my god, my legs, they're so pale. I was like, can you edit that? I'm like, I'm so insecure. Wow, like I'm really trying to stay strong, but like that is rough to look at. And it's like finding the beauty in that. Like, again, like I don't know why I feel like I have to be tan to be beautiful. So that's still a work in progress. I have, since that day where literally every photo I looked at in that photo set, I'd be like, I can't post that. It's gotten so much better. Like, I'm already at a much better place with it, but I'm still like like even now I'm like, anytime there's like a nice sunny day, I'm like, we have to work outside so we can get some color. And then like working through like almost the itch that's like, we have to go out in the sun so we can get some tan because I don't fake tan anymore. Like that just like that little pull of the addiction still. So still slowly working through that. And then I guess the last thing is, yeah, just that bump at my lower stomach. Again, I'm in a much better place than I've ever been in my whole life. I actually just posted about it on the gym page. I don't know if you saw it, because I was just like, again, God, Source, the divine is just like, do it. Like, there's someone who needs this message. Like, say it. Like, that's what you're here to do. I'm meant to move through you. Like, let me flow. And I did it. And a lot of times when I post something, I'll like stare at it and like watch it a million times and watch who's seeing it and all of that. And I was just like, this is one of those things, I just need to like post it and let it do its thing and step away from my phone for the day. And that's kind of what I did. And honestly, it wasn't again, it's a lot scarier than you think it's going to be. And I feel like, yeah, it wasn't even that. Like, I did have some people reach out like, oh my god, thank you for sharing this. And I'm like, you're welcome. Like, I know I need to do it. I know I need, again, it was just a story post. Like, first we start with stories, because obviously those go away in 24 hours. So it's like baby steps. First we get in the habit of filming the things, because I filmed the video like a week prior. And then I was just like, why are we sitting on this? Just put it on your story. It's only 24 hours. The gym page only has so many followers. We're not going to do it on the personal page. Again, there's like steps to it. First is the filming, then it's like story on the gym page, then a story on the gym page, share it to the personal page, then it's maybe a public reel that gets to stay on the profile forever. So we're at the story on the gym page area. So again, baby steps, we're getting closer, and yeah, I'm proud of that. So just keeping moving in that same direction, just working on those insecurities that have been deep rooted for so long in my life, and just finding a way to see them in a new light. Because again, if I could get to the place with my lower stomach and my paleness that I did with my nose, like now even certain photos, like I used to never take photos from the right side because I felt like my bump looked bigger on that side, and now I'm starting to like that side better. It's like, I don't even know how to explain. I'll even like a look at the bump and I'm like, I like it. I love it. It's so unique and I am vibing with it, and I don't know where that came from, or I think it was just, again, slowly tackling at it. So I'm like, the more that I slowly keep just working on these things and like seeing the beauty in them, and seeing again how much my body has carried me through everything that has been through, like it's hard not to have love for it. How has it felt to be seen in the hot seat today? Biggest takeaway and any final thoughts? It just felt so good. It feels so good to just share so much of my life and my story, because it really has been so much, and part of me feels like I want to start again. I feel like stories heal. I mean, yeah, that's like your whole thing. Stories heal, and I feel like the reason my story played out the way it did was because I meant to share it, and a lot of times I didn't want to share. Like I wanted to share along the way, and I did a little bit, but part of me was like, I feel like I need to like learn what I need to from this moment and go through the moment and then share afterwards. And now we're like at that place where I'm at the afterwards, and now she's like, are we doing it? Are we sharing it? And then it's like, how? Like there's so many different pieces that I'm like, how do I break it up, and how do I pick when to choose everything? So this kind of just gave me a place to like lay pretty much all of it out. Granted, there are some I could go in so many different detailed directions with all of these stories, but I covered like all the main stuff here, so it felt good to just be seen and share a lot of the struggles that some people probably, who again, especially the people who have met me like at this point in my journey, would never imagine that I lived the life that I did in my past, or even acted certain ways, or did certain things, or treated my body certain ways. It's like hard to even think when you look at like this version of me, because I'm like the feminine, cares about her body, knows her hormones woman. And I'm like, when I first moved to Pittsburgh, I was the furthest thing from that. Truly the furthest thing from that. I was just a heartbroken, lost, scared girl who didn't like herself and didn't know what she wanted out of life at all. And it's insane to think that I went from that to this in just like 7 years. It's insane. Oh, it's just so beautiful. But my biggest takeaway is that, honestly, is that the more I share my magic, the more I align with people who are absolutely radiating magic, because it has been an absolute pleasure to sit in this space with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome.